Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to Let's Play Nioh. After defeating Otani, this new gate opens up before us, and Tokugawa's forces come pouring through it down into the trenches. They're starting to push Mitsunari's forces back. Most of them have crossed this bridge to their inevitable demise. There's a huge bloody battle going on the other side of it. We're going to be a little bit smarter and take the river path. So Sekigahara was the decisive battle that more or less cemented Tokugawa's shogunate. And the next samurai that we're going after, Shima Sakon, did indeed fight under Mitsunari's banner at this very battle, which I think was kind of cool, even if the boss turns out to not be so hot. Before we go up the hill, there's a side path over here with a Kodama. And we have that same music from the Defiled Castle. I think the soundtrack in Nioh is just a little bit poor. But we're going to kind of come around the outskirts of the battlefield and not go swooping directly into the center of it. You will get lit up. You'll get lit up from all sides by gunfire and cannon fire. And I think, is this the case that there are two on top of this building? Yeah. I think I didn't quite get the headshot I was looking for on one of them. Yeah, it's a little hard to tell from this distance. You can barely make out the silhouettes of two of them. And one of their health bars is covering up the head of the other. Still just barely did that. Oh, shit. Okay. So when I was a kid, I just thought of this because I was thinking about the cutscene in which Tori Mototada, at the end of the last mission, told us to go kill the foreign mage, Edward Kelly. When I was a kid, watching Rurouni Kenshin, I didn't know what the Meiji era was that they kept talking about. So what I thought they meant was mages. Like, I thought Meiji was just an alternate pronunciation for mage, or for magi. I thought they were literally talking about a magical era. I had no historical perspective for, like, Japanese historical periods when I was a kid. I just thought that was funny. There's quite a lot of intense fighting that we have to do to cut through around to the next boss. We just barely managed to pull that guy without getting the attention of too many others, and there's another sniper perched up on that vantage point. I almost didn't catch that there was a third one. Would have walked right into him. I don't think we can get this guy's attention without also getting the gunman near the palisade, so we're just gonna pull this guy back. Oh, we also got the attention of a third dude. This is okay. Oh, and the final blow hit both of them. That's perfect. We can do a little bit of crowd control here. Yeah, this is going very nice so far. There are certainly ways for this mission to go extremely pear-shaped. Especially once you hit the halfway point after the first boss. And this actually becomes like a true battle. Like a true battlefield. I'm surprised he actually got that off. Not a second time now. Oh no! Didn't strafe enough. This is the atmosphere that I was craving from this level. And on my first playthrough, I was really disappointed going through the first half of it because there was not enough of this. Sekigahara was a massive battle. And you don't get that impression so much from the first half of it. It's just like more of those loose conglomeration of dudes to fight. Same thing as like every other level. But this, you get more of a sense that you're in the midst of an actual war zone. I think once you get to this half of the level, the atmosphere picks up quite a bit. Unfortunately, it's a really short level. This is the second shrine, and it's right next to the second boss. who is also the final boss of the level. First, we're going to climb the watchtower. I think... No, this is another one that we did not shoot down. There are snipers perched all over the place. You see it with the piles of corpses all over. You see it with how the sheer volume of enemies, all of the battlements. There's so much good stuff as far as atmosphere building goes in this level.
I want Kelly, not you.
Shima Sakon looks cool. He is introduced in a way that actually builds him up as some kind of formidable foe. This fight sucks. It's really disappointing. Because he's just a Revenant. He's just a spear-using Revenant. He's got maybe like 1 or 2 extra moves that Revenants don't use against you. But he's just a beefy Revenant, and that sucks. It's such a vanilla, bland-ass fight. And you still have to be wary of him because so many things that he does end up in one-shots. And he does deal a significant amount of damage even with individual hits. But like, there's just nothing to him. There's nothing to him at all. And hit stun the hell out of him when he's not in his living weapon mode. This is the only other significant change of the fight. He's got that grab attack where he headbutts you, does not knock you down. That's the only other real significant attack he does. It's his most dangerous attack, but it's also really easy to avoid. It's a one-hit kill. So whenever he's in this state, I usually just run down the charge of his living weapon. We'll even get a chance to do finishing blow here, because he ran himself out of stamina. Now he's out of living weapon, so we can just go back to dodging through him, getting behind him and stun locking him. He's going to start doing this way more often now that he's this low on health, but we can respond with our own living weapon. That's still dangerous. We still have to watch out for that. It's just nothing here. Even for like a nice one-on-one duel, it's not that special because again, he's just a spear-using Revenant. Gotta be a little bit careful. Oh, you know what happened there? I accidentally did a running attack, and those things lunge you forward so far forward that you often whiff unless you're really carefully spacing it out. So now we just have to deal with a couple more seconds of his living weapon. This is how you do a one-on-one duel against a humanoid enemy, and how you do it wrong. So utterly not unique. Not special. And we're just gonna go straight into the next mission.
三成殿こそわしには過ぎたる主君であった。この首を持っていけ。この首があれば一国一城の主も夢では。
I don't want your head.
それではわしの気が収まらん。ならばあの槍ではどうじゃ。
You trying to buy time?
まあ、あんたが頼りにしていた侍もおしまいか。あと数百命があればエノクの秘宝で何とかできないこともない。兵を犠牲にしたくないという場合ではないと思うが、どうはね。
頼む。
So like I said, we are going to go straight from Sekigahara to the source of evil. Gonna take a quick detour to the shrine, and we're going to change out the guardian spirit from Kato to Suzaku, who we recently picked up. Suzaku has a very particular set of skills useful for an upcoming boss fight. The Hour of Demons has descended upon Sekigahara. With the yokai realm and earthly realms intertwined, yokai have been given free reign to run wild. So we're still on the battlefield of Sekigahara, but everything has turned a hellish hue of red. And we have the giant skeleton, the Gashadokuro.
Hanzo, 天海殿、頼まれてくれようか。はは。
Again, atmospherically, I really, really like this mission. They convey the gravity and the horror really, really well here. A lot of the mist has lifted, but it's still just a graveyard. Yeah, a soul-soothing comb. It is to purify some of the crystals scattered around the battlefield. And you get that awesome view of the Gashadokuro. And real quick, before I forget like I did last episode, let's take a look at the additional stats in the status menu where you see the weapon proficiency, which is finally kind of relevant to talk about. It builds up in the same way as familiarity. It builds up as you use weapons, but instead of being applied to one specific weapon that you have equipped, weapon familiarity builds up for an entire set of weapon types. And it never resets either as you switch weapons. So say whenever you use swords, you're building up proficiency for all swords. And the important thing about that is that you get samurai skill points at certain breakpoints. I'm pretty sure the first 3 are 500 proficiency, 2,000 proficiency, and 6,000. They are your first 3 samurai skill points from proficiency. And then with enough proficiency, you also unlock the final tier of dojo missions as well. So every weapon type has its own proficiency counter. And because we've been using the Kusarigama really, really heavily throughout the entire game, and you can even see, like, the design of that thing is cool as hell. You can see it has this nice, almost looks like a tail that continues down from its spinal column, plus multiple arms, so it's not just like one big vanilla giant skeleton. It's actually got some design elements that make it a little bit cooler. And you also always see this tremendous shadow, this colossal shadow looming over you. Oh, it's a nice touch. What was I saying? Since we've been using the Kusarigama so heavily, we've obviously built up an assload of proficiency for that. We have a little bit of proficiency with the spear, but not too much. We only have enough proficiency to unlock the final tier of dojo training mission for the Kusarigama, which unlocks the mystic arts in the skill tree. We'll show off probably next episode once I get a chance to do the dojo mission. So, real quick, before we drop down to where the crystal is, we're going to come over here and fire the cannon that's still on the battlefield. That fires straight at the Gashadokuro, and it gets his attention so that he can blast the rocks down. This gives you an alternate path to get over to this crystal over here. And then you can come and take cover beneath the cliff, or rather on the side of the cliff. And eventually, once he realizes that he can't hit you from here, he'll go back to trying to blast Tokugawa's forces. You're being assisted by some others as well, like Hattori Hanzo, I think, is distracting him. But the main reason you blast him with the cannon is just so you can get over here. Like other levels, by participating in this level's gimmick. Oh, that's... Whoops. Just planning on him getting stunned. That works, too. By utilizing this level's gimmick, we make the boss fight slightly easier. You see that there are all these red... I need to be careful not to get too close to that one, or it will summon the Revenant. There's, Biwa player. Biwa Bokuboku, that's what they're called. Around, but I have no idea where he actually is, so... Have to be careful about summoning Revenants unintentionally. There are a lot of them in this mission. There's also 2 Kodama back-to-back. Just this hellish graveyard around here. Be careful about this pool of defilement. That spawns an Onryoki, like, as in the boss of the first level. There are a couple of those in this level. There are a couple of Onryoki, and they pull no punches. So that's purifying all of these blood-red pools of defilement, so that when you step through them, not only are they not debuffing you, they're also providing you a couple of really beneficial buffs. Now, I'm just going to wait a second for him to turn his attention. On top of getting his attention with a cannon fire, he also turns his attention to you whenever you stick the comb into those crystals. And he's still looking over this way. His default position is with his back to you. think we're good. I think that's signified by that line of dialogue. Even if you can't see him, you get that audio cue to let you know that the coast is clear. You're free to go. Since I switched to Suzaku as my guardian spirit, I want to describe the unique thing about Suzaku. Suzaku, when the living weapon gauge is full, if you don't activate it, manually, that is, and you take a hit that would be fatal, you will instead activate living weapon automatically. So it's like a second life almost. And there's no limit to the amount of times that can happen. It's just that the living weapon gauge has to be full. We aren't angling to do that, though. We aren't equipping Suzaku for this mission as a safety measure. Instead, we have Suzaku on because he is a really powerful attack against the Gashadokuro when the living weapon is activated. So it's not necessarily an insurance policy for us, it's just a very large DPS source. The approach to the last crystal in the level, there are 3 total, is a lot more treacherous than the others. I think the pool on the left is either a one-eyed ogre, or it might also be an Onryoki. I know there's another one around here. So we're just going to bypass that completely. We're going to try to get the attention of as few enemies as possible, but there are a lot of them. And a lot of dangerous ones in close proximity to one another, which is what makes this approach so deadly. I think we can take the low ground. Something spotted me. Oh, you. Okay. I think we can bypass the Revenant. Nope, we're fighting the Revenant. That seems a little bit inconsistent, doesn't it? Like, sometimes you can get much closer without the Revenant spawning, and then sometimes they seem to spawn on their own quite far away. There was a spot near that ridge where it seemed like I was safe from the sniper fire. I think it's around here. Yep. Okay, so this is our spot to fight him. Ah, that's not close enough. Nope. I don't mind cheesing this one out. Especially since we're being just bombarded with flaming arrows. And no, we're still gonna have to deal with you. Oh, I'm gonna take cover behind the crystal, so that we only have to kill the skeleton. Patience is a virtue. Patience is a virtue. Oh, and we're having stamina issues because I forgot there is a one of those defilement pools right next to the crystal, right underneath it. This is the last spike that we're gonna have to drive in. Perfect. Now we can drop down into the boss arena with the buffs going on.
Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine.
Gashadokuro is just a giant skeleton yokai. Like, the design's cool, but the fight is, like I said, a gimmick fight. You hit it in the foot until the foot's out of HP, and Dokuro will topple over, and you can whack him in the face a bunch. But you have to climb up the hill first. It gives you a long time to get up here before he finally topples over. So you have a chance to climb the hill without wasting DPS time. And right as he topples, we're going to activate Suzaku and use Suzaku's special attack. Which normally you'll get like maybe 1 or 2 per living weapon use, but we have a buff going on that's constantly filling the living weapon gauge by giving us bonus Amrita to every hit, almost like an extraction talisman. And because this special attack from Suzaku hits so many times, the damage absolutely mind-blowing. To contrast that, if I was just whacking away with Kusarigama lit on fire, I would have done maybe a quarter of his health. I would probably have to do this about 4 times. And eventually, once you destroy the legs, once you disable him that way twice, you have to start going after the hands, and that's much harder to do. You actually have to position yourself pretty carefully to hit his hands. I went up the wrong hill. Fuck. Still gonna have plenty of time to do that minuscule amount of HP. Also, fire seems to do quite well against him in general.
果たしたなウィリアム。犠牲となった者たちも報われよ。果たし
安心殿、よくぞ。それにしてもかような邪法は見たことがありません。三成殿、そなた。
And now, before we go, we are just going to go ahead and move on to our final region. Sekigahara feels like a pretty short one, because those last 2 in a row being not only the same level, but also pretty short levels in and of themselves. The Battle of Sekigahara divided Japan in 2, split between East and West. After Kobayakawa Hideaki's defection, the tide of battle swung suddenly in Tokugawa's favor, and victory was soon claimed. The ensuing chaos of Twilight quickly faded, and now the time has come to reward the glorious deeds of all of those who play their part.
Ieyasu殿、小早川秀明でござりまする。逃げた三成めは沢山の城へと落ち延びる算段でありましょう。三成の首はぜひ私めにお任せを。この秀明、霧に苦しめられましたが、東軍へと馳せ参じ、獅子奮陣の活躍。
小早川殿だけでは難儀であろう。わしも手はずを整えたらすぐに後を追いまする。
Kelly is there. I'm going to.
Nioh正殿と小早川殿は逃れる石田勢を追って沢山の城へと軍を進めた。じゃがわしらの探るところ、三成殿はケリーめと共に 伊吹山へと落ちたようだ。ウィリアム、お主は天海殿と共に伊吹山へ向かえ。敗軍の将とはいえ、三成殿は油断ならぬ男。気を引き締めて参るのだ。
All right, that's going to do it for now. Next time, we are going to start the final region of the base game, the Omi region. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take it easy. Have a good one.